A new story coming out of Manitoba is the perfect example of why Canada's refugee and immigration policies discriminate against economic immigrants that share our Canadian values. The Warkentin family, originally from Colorado, bought a business in that province over 5 years ago and are being denied permanent residency over their daughter's disability. That denial may also extend to the little girl visiting the country, and the letter advised against her entering the country without seeking advice from a Canadian visa office. They face being kicked out within a few months, with the decision being final, while our globalist government puts out the message that everyone is welcome and illegals are actually walking across the United States border toward Justin Trudeau's welcome wagon filled with government welfare goodies. That should be the first red flag. This is discriminatory and hypocritical, especially coming from a government that apparently champions the disabled and minorities. How scummy to put that on a child's shoulders. She's just 6 years old. Can you even imagine? Trust me, this story is going to grind your gears. It's going to infuriate you. The family business, Harvest Lodge, services hunters and anglers, employs 4 people seasonally, and the couple have sunk hundreds of thousands of dollars into it. They're very active in their community, at their church, and their daughter's school. So not only are they contributing to the Canadian economy, but they also contribute to the social framework of their small town of Waterhen. Being there for over 5 years and living in the community, population of 169, there's no doubt that this family is entirely integrated into everyday life there. They seem like a lovely couple, people that anyone would be happy to have as friends and neighbors. So things were great until the Warkentin's daughter was diagnosed with epilepsy that delayed her speech and development over a year after they bought their business. And the reason the government is denying the family's request is because they say their daughter will cause what they call excessive demand, which is defined as totaling over $6,655 per year on either the education or healthcare systems and other social programs. So let's compare this to the excessive demand that Trudeau's newly arrived Syrian refugees put on the system, shall we? It costs $384.7 million to resettle 25,000 refugees. That's over 15 grand each, and doesn't even account for private sponsorships and those that came in under the blended program. So that's more than 2 times the excessive demand that the Warkentins are being exiled for, while Trudeau ships in tens of thousands of more Syrian refugees. And consider these stats from the Alberta Association of Immigrant Serving Agencies that show that Syrian refugees in Alberta have an 8% employment rate after being here between 8 to 11 months. Only 22% of those refugees can speak English after that amount of time. And according to those same stats, the majority of Syrians that have come to the province have at the highest a grade 9 education. So most of the time you kind of need a high school diploma or equivalent to get a grown-up job here in Canada and take care of your family. So who do you think is going to pay for that upgrade? I'd say that's excessive demand on top of the excessive demand, but according to the government, that's just not so. Apparently, that rule only applies to little kids with disabilities. At this time, the Warkentin's daughter is no longer on medication because she hasn't had a seizure in 2 years. Thank God. And to add to the story, Global News uncovered the fact that Immigration Canada has the wrong information on file. A report from the school psychologist stated that it's just a possibility that the child may have ADHD, but the government file stated that definitively she does. The government says that they're turning the Warkentins away and it's a final decision because of their daughter's disability, but really, they're just not the right kind of immigrants from the right kind of country. You know, the ones that Justin Trudeau can use for photo ops when tragedy strikes and he can put the Disney Prince persona on. The bottom line is that the Canadian government actively discriminates against immigrants that come here and help Canada prosper, and ships refugees that come with a lot of baggage, and I don't mean luggage, that are a huge burden on the taxpayer to resettle. Look, I don't deny the crisis in Syria, But I've said before that I think the solution for Syrians is in the Middle East, whether that be in humanitarian aid and in fighting ISIS. It's 100% immoral to kick this family out of the country, knowing that we're bringing in tens of thousands of refugees just so Trudeau can wave his arms and say, "Look what I did," to feed his overinflated ego. It's probably the grossest thing, besides making convicted terrorist Omar Khadr a multi-millionaire, that I've seen from this government. Destroying a family's life like this, denying a disabled child like this. I'm appalled, and I rarely make requests, but I'm going to ask you for your help. Sometimes the government needs to remember who they're working for, and that means us. So I want you to write a polite email or leave a polite message, and I stress the word polite here, for the Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship, Ahmed Hassan. Tell him it's un-Canadian and doesn't represent you, and that he needs to do better for this family and others, because this isn't the only family that this is happening to. You can reach the minister at 613-954-1064, or you can email him at ahmedhassan@parle.gc.ca. If anything, we can make him respond to this atrocity, let him know that Canadians welcome families like the Warkentons, and get him to reconsider this terrible, inhumane, and detrimental decision. For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you even more for writing that letter or making that phone call. But I need to ask another favor. Can you please click the visit link and maybe donate a few bucks to us? We don't get big government dollars to do this kind of journalism like the CBC does, so we count on viewers like you to pay the bills to continue bringing you all of this amazing content. Thanks again.